later than usual tonight, and what a day it's been. And now I saw some of the eclipse, but I've had a busy day today. I've been busy doing things, and I did pay attention to the eclipse. Was not able to be with my family. They were here at my daughter's up on the porch. Well, I have some of them goggles here. Had their had their goggles here. Here we go. And then trying to hang them off my. There we go. How's that? Did you have your goggles today? Hey, where'd y'all go? Who shut the lights out? Oh, so anyway, been an interesting day, a historic day. I want to help to shine some light after this eclipse. No pun intended there. I want to shine some light on this for you and see if I can be of some encouragement to you this evening. Because some of you out there, probably not too many of you that watch our program here, but a lot of folks are a little disappointed tonight because there are several people who tried to get people to think that this was it. The rapture was going to happen today. I never for a moment thought any such thing. Not that he couldn't come any day and that the Lord couldn't come any day that he wants. But I personally believe that the rapture will be a fall event. And if I'm wrong about that and he comes tonight, I'm okay with that. That's fine. It will not hurt my feelings one bit, not a smidget. As the little girl on on Wonderful Life said, not a smidget. Somebody says all I got out of the eclipse was 2 free pancakes at Cracker Barrel. Not bad. Hey, that is a good deal. I was having a good time when I got to town today. I was talking to my son on the phone. And by the way, this is April the 8th. 8:51 p.m. Central Standard Time, so it's late for you folks on the East Coast. We got a good crowd gathering so far. Facebook's a little down, but YouTube is growing. And so I was talking to my son, and I was cutting up a bit. And I got into town. And I said, "Oh my goodness, it's happening! It's happening! There's 3 or 4 cars in front of me. I think I'm going to get blocked in. I think the crowd is." And I was joking. Then I went by my credit union, and I looked over, and there were people, probably 25 people, with lawn chairs right in front of right at the doorway of the bank. And I said to my son, "Oh my goodness, this has all the looks of a run on the bank, and it's happened. It's happened. The Lord's coming." And I cut up a little bit with that. And but in all seriousness, um, I got to see. I think we're in the 90% here. It didn't get totally dark where I am. It did darken and looked a little funny out, but I was able to see with just a little bit of light showing on the bottom, and so it was interesting, but nothing that I was that fascinated over. I wasn't that anxious to see it that I was willing to drive an hour and to go see it. Not too far from us. It just wasn't all that interesting to me. And I realized, okay, it's a historic event. All right, that's fine. We got Alabama listening in. We've got North Carolina here tonight. Cynthia's here. Can't remember where Cynthia's from, but that's all right. Scott is here from North Carolina. So he's the gospel poet. And so we still got more followers here on YouTube than we do on the Facebook channel. But I hope, all right, so this is the 8th of April, 2024. The second phase of the Great American Eclipse has come and gone. Okay, and some of you, hey, Miss Kippy, Brother Frank, Pennsylvania, sent your book out today, your Apocalypse book. I printed just enough of those things. I shipped every one of them today. I got to print some more. You can get them by going to Prophecy and Spotlight and clicking on the Apocalypse, the Apostasy. It's the Apostasy collection. There's 3 messages in it, and it's for a donation of $25. I think you'll enjoy it. It's an 8x11 clear plastic binder that I put together. So make me do some more work and order some, and I'll have to print some more. Um, okay, so let me help you put the pieces together today. For those of you that are a little bummed out tonight that nothing happened, and I don't know that nothing happened, but I have not heard of anything. There's a lot of things about this that's interesting, but I didn't hear of any blackouts. I didn't hear of any riots. I didn't hear of anything. Um, but I haven't really been looking at the news. So, but I haven't seen anything flash, any alerts flash over my phone, and nobody's called me saying, "Hey, brother, did you hear this?" But I want to set your mind at ease tonight, and I want to help you with something. I want to help you understand signs. And the first thing I want to do is read a verse to you, or a couple verses in Genesis chapter 1, and we've shared this over and over again with you about the sun, right? And I'm going to try to be brief here tonight. I realize it's late, even on the Central Standard Time where I'm at. It's going on 9 o'clock. I realize it's going on 10 where you are, if you're on the East Coast. And so I'm going to try to be very brief tonight, but I do want to get this out there because I want to be a help to those of you who pay attention to this stuff. Genesis chapter 1, verse 14. God said, "Let there be lights in the firmament," the sky, um, "of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and for days and for years." So four things he mentions there. But listen to this. The first thing of importance that he mentioned here was these bodies in the sky, the stars, sun, moon. First thing he says, they're for signs. Now, isn't that interesting? He didn't save that for last. He put that first. And then verse 15, "Let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth." And it was so. And God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day. This is day 4, by the way. And the lesser light, the moon, to rule the night. He made the stars also. Just threw that in. And let them be, God set them in the firmament, set them, placed them there, set them there. And how'd you like to be? How'd you like to be somebody 2,000 years ago that looked up in the sky and saw the star or the two planets that came, whatever it was, at the time that the wise men saw his star in the east? And again, I don't know if it was a literal star that they saw or if it was a couple of planets. That's not the issue tonight. They saw it and they understood that it was a sign from God, and they got their caravan together and they headed towards Jerusalem to find the king, King Herod, and ask him, "Where is he born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star." Now, I'm afraid some of you watching tonight would be a scoffer at this. Let me read a verse for you in 2 Peter chapter 3. I think it's 2 Peter. 2 Peter 3, or is it 1 Peter? 2 Peter chapter 3. "Knowing this first, that there shall come in the last days scoffers." Scoffers. In my Bible, I could show you. I won't take the time. I could open my Bible. I'm reading this out of my book here. I could show you. I wrote Baptist preachers next to that verse. And I am a Baptist preacher. But I'm telling you, the Baptists are the biggest scoffers on planet Earth. It's sad. It really is. It's sad. Scoffers. Anything to a problem. Oh yeah. They laugh it off. They make fun of it, and I've seen some of it on Facebook tonight. Scoffers. You know who most of these scoffers are? They're good men who just don't understand prophecy, and because they don't understand, they scoff at it. Scoffers walking after their own lust, saying, "Where is the promise of his coming?" Let me tell you, scoffers, where the promise of his coming. It's where it's always been. It's in the Word of God. I like what I like. I've lost his name all of a sudden. But he made a statement that I love, and I'll think of his name in a minute. He was a doctor. Somebody help me. One of my favorite prophecy guys of the past. He said this: the greatest truth in all the world is not death, but the return of the Lord Jesus Christ. The greatest truth in all the world is not death. No, I'm saying that wrong. The greatest fact in all the world is not death, but the return of the Lord Jesus Christ. You know what he meant by that? He was saying, you know what? You may not die. The rapture may happen. Christ may come back. It's not Jack Vinipy. It's the doctor that wrote the chemistry of the blood. I can't believe I've lost his name. I've just drawn a blank. And it happens to me a lot these days. One of my favorite guys, many of you have heard me talk about him. He wrote a book on Revelation in 1947. I talk about this in my books. And he said that, I thought somebody had it for me there. And he said one day man will go to the moon. He said one day man will travel faster than the speed of light. And then he said one day Israel will be back on the land. Remember that? Who is it? I've lost his name, but M.R.D. Hahn. Thank you, Tim. Thank you. That's Brother Flutie, my preacher friend. Hey, Brother Tim, are you coming up here for this for the meeting at the church in Louisville? I haven't decided yet. I don't know if I'm going to be able to go or not. I was just curious if you're coming. Sure would like to see you. And let me know if you're making the trip up here. I don't know. I know they're having it because I've seen it advertised. But thanks for that. M.R.D. Hahn, one of my favorite prophecy guys. Wasn't even King James. But we'll give him we'll give him a little credit there because he was from back there when the new versions first started coming out, and I think he got caught in it. And all right, so here's what I want you to get tonight. Listen, most of you the people that are scoffers. Some of you don't understand signs, and again, you may say, well, this wasn't a sign. Okay, maybe it wasn't. We don't know that 100% for sure, but there sure were a lot of things about these two eclipses that are very, very interesting. I mean, all kinds of things going on around it. You really think that's all coincidence? You really think there is nothing to this? And I know what some of you are saying, and because I've seen some of your Facebook posts, and you say, well, I guess that's the end of that. Wrong again. All the prophets were wrong. Well, first of all, there are no prophets today. There are Bible believers who study prophecy and who understand, but there's no prophets today. I understand we can't guaranteed point to something and say this is what this meant, but there certainly looks like this had a meaning. And Doc and I talked about it on the show, and maybe a warning to America that judgment has come. You've crossed the line. Um, I really feel like the two eclipses fit the story of Joseph pretty well. And I won't go into all that again. I shared all that with you already in a few past shows we've done, and won't go through all that again. You can scoff at all you want. You can say you. By the way, you're accusing us of not knowing. Well, you don't know either. You say, well, this didn't mean nothing. How do you know? Seriously. You're looking at people who talk about all the things that revolved around this and how it looks like it could mean such and such, and yet you scoff at that, and then you say it didn't mean this. Well, wait a minute. Why are you right in your assessment of signs, but other people are wrong in their assessment? Now, if somebody contradicts the Bible, okay, they're wrong. Nobody contradicted the Bible here. Doc and I didn't contradict the Bible. We've never said for sure. We've given our thoughts on what this may mean. And by the way, when enough lights shine in your face, eventually you better wake up and realize, okay, somebody's behind them lights. Somebody's turned them lights on. Am I right? All these things, I mean, all these, you call them coincidences. All these lights are shining in your face, and it don't mean nothing. There's nothing behind this, really. You're so sure about that you're willing to say everybody else is wrong, but you're right when you say it meant nothing, and you scoff and you laugh and you make fun. How do you know you're right? How do you know God is not telling America something? Now, maybe He's not. How do you know that God's not? Big guy, smarty pants, Dr. Big Bottom. How do you, seriously, how are you so sure that this meant nothing? Let me go back to my illustration, the wise men. They show up at Jerusalem and they say, "We saw his star in the east. We've come to worship him." Do you suppose there was some scoffers there? Said, "Sorry, star in the east. That don't. What makes you think that meant anything? That's nonsense. That meant nothing." By the way, old wicked liberal, non-believing Herod believed that it meant something, didn't he? What's wrong with some of you? Again, we don't know for sure. It sure looks like this meant something. But you out there that are declaring it meant nothing, I told you also, you don't know what you're talking about. How do you know that you're right? Now imagine, go back 2,000 years now, and by the way, the star that the wise men saw, you know when that was set? That was set at creation on day 4. On day 4 of the creation, 4,000 years before Jesus is going to come into the world, God set that star or those planets, whatever it is that those men saw, whether it's planets that came together, a star, I don't know, don't care, whatever it was placed in the galaxy to show up at the exact moment that would fulfill the prophecy and tell those wise men, this is it, this is the message. The Savior is coming to the world. We're going to go see him. That was placed there 4,000 years in advance. By the way, so was everything else. All the solar eclipses, all the blood moons that happened throughout history. Some of you scoffed at them too. You simply don't understand what they were. You don't understand what a blood moon is. I did a whole chapter on that in 2014 or 15, somewhere in there. I did a whole chapter on the blood moons. I really believe I helped some people because there was a lot of misunderstanding. There was a lot of people saying things that they heard, but they weren't right. And I studied it out. I looked at the history of the blood moons, and I got the right dates and all that. And yes, they all happened. They all evolved around something important with Israel. That's pretty hard to shake. From Christopher Columbus to 1948 and then 1967. I mean, just amazing. The blood moons followed Israel. Important events with Israel. Now, it seems like these eclipses are not about Israel so much as they are about Mystery Babylon, the Great, the seat of Babylon, which I believe is right here. We're going to do a show on that. I've written about it in this book. Some of you have it. Some of you have read the book, The Mystery of Babylon. I give my reasoning for what Babylon is, why it's misunderstood, and why America, I believe, is the seat of political Babylon. And which would make sense that these eclipses may be pointing towards a judgment on America. Yeah, the X, Carbondale, Illinois, fast becoming the abortion capital for all the other states that have outlawed it to come to Illinois, to Carbondale, and have their abortions. And wicked. And they find a way around what the Supreme Court did, and find a way around it. So, Those wise men, imagine being there at that time and being a scoffer about these lights in the sky that the wise men saw. Who'd be eating crow right now? You would be. Now, don't let that be true of you this time. It's very possible that what just occurred here and 7 years ago is God shining a light in our face, letting us know things are about to get ugly. There is a God in heaven. And he says over and over again that they may know that I am God. That's important to the Lord. That they may know that I am who I say I am. And so pay attention. Let me read something else for you here. Matthew chapter 16, verse 2 and 3. He answered and said unto them, when it is evening, ye say it will be fair weather, for the sky is red. You know, that's an old sailor's tale. I was in the Navy. Red sky at night, sailor delight. It's going to be good weather. Red sky in the morning, sailor take warning. Red sky in the morning can make you think a storm may be coming. And the Lord says, and in the morning it will be foul weather today, for the sky is red, lowering. Oh, ye hypocrites! The Lord uses this whatever you want to call this, where people judge what the weather is going to be the next day. He said, "Oh, ye hypocrites! Ye can discern the face of the sky. You can tell what the weather might do tomorrow, but can ye not discern the signs of the time?" And we just don't believe in signs. Well, Jesus did. The Bible teaches that there are signs. What's your problem? Okay. Now I think you got to discern properly, and I think you got to fit the pieces together and not make wild assumptions. Um, I heard. I listened to something that John Hagee said, and I was a little disappointed in him. I think he misquoted some verses in Matthew 24, or actually it was Luke 21, which is the sister chapter, same Olivet discourse, just worded different. And I think he was quoting some verses that take place for Israel in the tribulation. So you got to be careful of that stuff. And one of the lessons that's in that booklet I told you about at the beginning of the show, that's on Protestant Spotlight, the apostasy collection, the binder. One of them that's in there is Doc's outline of Matthew. And he doesn't really explain anything. He just puts a heading up above the passages and tells you what that passage is about, the time period and who it's to and all that. And I told him, I said, Doc, this is good stuff. People need this. People are confused in the book of Matthew. People misquote Matthew 24 thinking it's talking about the church or the church age, and it's not. All right? And so there are signs. There are signs. The Bible talks about the signs of the times. There are lots of signs we talk about that have to do with different entities. Like there are signs about Israel when the fig tree buds. That's a sign. Well, by the way, we've seen that. That's happened. That was fulfilled. 1948, 1967. There are signs about the church. There are signs about the world around us. In the last days, perilous times shall come. Hey, do you think we're there? Do you think we're living in perilous times? It's not just around the world anymore. It's right here. These are dangerous times. They're locking Christians behind bars, not even charging them with the crime, putting them in solitary confinement, breaking their spirit until they'll sign and claim they'll plead guilty to a crime just to get out of solitary confinement. That's not unjust, my friend. That is wicked of our government to do that. Where are the lawyers? Why aren't the lawyers going to the judges and say this is coercion? They're torturing these people to get a confession from them. That's not a confession. That's what Hitler did. That's what heathen do. That's what the Great Inquisition and the Spanish Inquisition. That's what they did. They tortured people, got them to admit to stuff. ought not be done in our country. Perilous times are here, dangerous times. We're living in them. Now, let me say this about a sign and I'll be done. This is the main thing I wanted to get you to hear tonight. Whenever God gave signs, and again, I'm not saying that this eclipse means what I think it might mean. I'm just guessing like everybody else. I don't know that, but I'll tell you what. If I was betting, I would bet. It'd be a safer bet to say yes, it meant something for America. That's a safer bet than scoffing at it. It didn't mean a thing. It just means the moon went in front of the sun. Okay, go ahead. And and what happened when the wise men saw that star? Um, it was just a natural thing in the sky, right? God placed it there 4,000 years ago. You could scoff at that too, Buster. Go ahead and scoff at that. The wise men were right. That star was real. God did that. Set it there 4,000 years in advance. Now, do you think God is not going to give warning to us about the timing that we're in? You think not? Or do you think maybe he just did? I'll tell you how you'll know. Just keep your eyes open the next year or two, or maybe 6 months. Keep your eyes and ears open. Things are going to begin happening pretty rapidly here as we degenerate into these apostate times that we're headed to here. Now, let me say this about a sign. Whenever God sent Jeremiah, Ezekiel, or anybody else, Elijah, he sent them to give a warning to the king. He would give signs. Do you know what? They never occurred at that moment. Never. He told God, Jonah, go speak unto Nineveh. Tell them judgment's coming. I'm gonna destroy them all. But it wasn't going to happen that day, right? He doesn't tell you the moment it's going to happen. What good would that do? What good would it do to say, "Here's a sign. You're all going to fall. You're all going to die," and then they all die immediately? Why have a sign for that? No, signs are pointing to something that's coming to give a warning to those who have the sense or the spiritual insight to see it and understand it. If this was a sign or is a sign about the fall of this country, the judgment coming upon this nation. By the way, we deserve it tenfold. If it is, what makes you think that it was going to happen during the eclipse? No, of course not. And by the way, Mr. Hagee got confused. He seemed to be telling the audience that was listening to him at the church. Everybody was clapping and jumping up and down. He seemed to be telling them that this was pointing to the rapture. Nowhere in this eclipse and in the Bible is there any sign for the rapture. Bible signs, for the most part, are talking about the tribulation or the second coming of Christ, not the rapture. There are no signs for the rapture. The rapture is a mystery. The rapture is that thing that happens, and it's secretive. He comes like a thief in the night. Okay, not for one moment that I think that the rapture is going to happen during the eclipse. Not that it couldn't have, but if the eclipse was a sign, it wasn't rapture time. Okay. And by the way, Doc and I never one time said the rapture is going to happen on the 8th of April. Okay. And a lot of people just don't hear things properly. And sometimes you get accused of something. And, well, Brother Goodman said, no, Brother Goodman said no such thing. Let's go play the tape again. Let's go get the transcript from the YouTube channel, and you can read what Brother Goodman said and what Dr. Hildebrand said. Now, we misspeak sometimes, and we both do that from time to time. And, I think I said something about million or trillion, and I had it backwards, and I saw that. There's no way to fix it, but There was something, I gave a wrong number. I forget what it was now, but that happens to everybody. That happens. Um, so yeah, Gary, this eclipse followed the New Madrid fault line. I noticed that several weeks ago. I think that's strange. Um, and yeah, you can make numbers mean different things, but sometimes they fall into place. For instance, let me prove to you something about numbers. Pretty hard to make this up. But in Matthew 17, let me turn to that. Matthew 17. That's the story of the transfiguration, right? Let me show you something about numbers. And I'm not a big numbers guy, but when I get them, I get them. But I'm not the guy that gets them as quick as other people. But look what it says in Matthew 17, verse 1. And after 6 days, Jesus taketh Peter, James, and John, his brother, bringeth them up into an high mountain apart. Hey, that's interesting, isn't it? And you know what's going to happen. He's going to be transfigured. Moses and Elijah are going to show up. Where did they come from? Most likely from paradise, Abraham's bosom. How did they get there? They walked through a door. Sci-fi people call it a portal. Do, 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 do. That's right, different dimension. And they show up and they're going to leave just like they came, just boom, gone. But notice what it says. The first part of the verse says this. And after 6 days. Now you can read chapter 16 and see what all that means. Why did God mention after 6 days? What does it have to do with the context here? Nothing. Nothing. Read it for yourself. Read chapter 16. Try to find a reason why God said, and after 6 days. It didn't matter. Van, you're exactly right. What's the prophetic lesson here? After 6,000 years, Jesus takes the saints up, Peter, James, and John representing the church, the saints, takes them up. There's the rapture. Two men show up. By the way, they're named Moses and Elijah. I am convinced that's who the two witnesses are. Enoch's not here. Enoch's not one of the two witnesses. There's your two witnesses. After 6,000 years, the rapture happens. Two men come down, Moses and Elijah, and they're going to witness and minister to Israel for 3.5 years. They're not going to have a single convert. They're going to be hated by the whole world. They're going to be killed right at the middle. They're going to be left in the streets for 3.5 days, and then they're going to get up while the Antichrist is in the temple. They're going to rise to heaven just like Jesus did on the first Feast of First Fruits. The Antichrist will hear about it. He'll declare death to every Jew. And that's Matthew 24, the very misunderstood passage of Matthew 24. Nothing to do with the church. It's Israel. Woe unto that Israel girl who's with child in those days. Why? Hard to run when you're pregnant, or hard to run when you get a little toddler. Run for your life. You got moments to get out of Dodge, or you will die if you're a Jew. If he that's in the field, don't go back to the cabin. Don't go back to the house. Get out of there. If you're on the rooftop, it says, don't even go downstairs to get your cell phone or a bag of chips or a bottle of water. Run for your life. The Antichrist is coming. You got moments to live. You've got to get out of there. That's Matthew 24. That's right when the two witnesses are killed, right at the middle of the tribulation. So, you want to know about numbers? After 6 days. 2 Peter 3, a day is with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as a day. God sometimes looks at a day as 1,000 years. 6 days of creation, 6,000 years. The seventh day, God rested. That's the kingdom age. Well, I'm getting off track here. The point with signs is it's given to illuminate something. It's given to shine the light on something. It's given to give a warning like, hey, The bridge is out up there, a couple miles, the bridge, and they're shining like flashing lights. Stop! The bridge is out. A sign is a warning for something up the road. Boy, get that. Get that. If this was a sign to America, and I believe it's very possible that it is, it's not something that happens the day of the sign. It's something that's up the road a piece. And God is warning us. Get right with God. Be vigilant. Prepare yourself. Prepare for storm. I've been saying that for months. All right. Does that help you tonight? So all the people who post on their Facebook page, I told you it was nothing. And they're all laughing out. Well, where's the rapture? Who said there was a rapture on the eclipse besides John Hagee? And I'm not sure that's really what he meant, but that's certainly how everybody in the audience took it. And I think he took some verses out of the tribulation out of context, applying it to. Last time I checked, we're still in the church age. We're not in Matthew 24 yet. Hey, Mrs. West, I was trying to call you the other day. I just wanted to check in on you. Maybe if you're still up after a little while, Mrs. West, give me a call. I just wanted to see how you are. I haven't talked to you in quite a while. I think of Brother West every day of my life. Every day, I think of Brother West, and greatest friend that I've ever had in this world, apart from my wife. And I sure miss him. I miss him every day. And we're getting close. We're going to see him soon. We're going to see Pastor West. He's up there. I'm a little mad at him. I tell everybody, look, you get to heaven, you send me word. Is that trumpet out of the case? Nobody does it. Brother West, where are you at, Brother West? You're supposed to get some message to me. But anyway, boy, God is good. And thank God for the Bible. Thank God for Jesus. Thank God for the blessed hope, the glorious appearing. Thank God for heaven. And we're going there soon. And so we're at the end of this thing. How close to the end? We don't know for sure. The calendars are messed up. Hard to know where we're at. But I'm telling you, soon and very soon. It could be this fall. It could be next fall. It could be fall of 2026. And I've got my sights on that for a possibility. You know, by the way, oh, you're a date setter. That's not being you idiot. What is wrong with you? Um, you know, what's wrong with looking at stuff and trying to find some times that fit? And you know, all right, signs. And they're not illuminating an event that's coming that moment. For goodness sake, if it's a sign, it's pointing to something down the road. You got that? You got that? What's so hard about that? What do we got over here? Yes, we deserve it. The Lord is patient with our country. There's a point where the blood of the unborn is crying out. Exactly right, Miss Ruth. If we were to pick a date for the fall, what day would you pick concerning the 25-20? I have a date in 2026. I don't remember what it is at the moment. But I'll tell you what it's not. It's not the Feast of Trumpets on the Jewish calendar. It never fits with their date. And I believe they're doing it wrong. And I believe we're all going to be surprised. And if you have my book, The Jubilee, The Mystery of Jubilee, there's a chapter in here called The Mystery of 25-20. That's the key to the whole thing. And you'll find the system that I use, and it's very simple, and I believe it's biblical. And you'll find the new moon in the sky every year that fits with the Day of Atonement 7 years later, 2,520 days. You can't use our calendar. Now, you count the days on ours, but you got to understand God's using a sabbatical cycle. Not using a 365-day year. You'll never figure it out with that. You use the right calendar, you use the right amount of days, you use the feast, and you'll come up with it. It's real simple. Um, if Alana's on here, I don't know if she's on here tonight. She can do it now. She knows how to do it. And I have a date in 2026 that fits like a glove. I have not looked at this year or next year, But I could find you a date there too. Does that mean he's coming on that day? No. Does that mean you're a date setter? Duh. Of course not, you idiot. What's wrong with you? I don't know when he's coming. I got some guesses. If you don't like that, you don't go watch something else. You don't have to watch our show. I've never set a date. I've told people some dates that look good. And if that bothers you, be bothered. Go listen to somebody else. And so anyway, let's see anything else here. Um, Keep an eye on that New Madrid fall. Barbara's in Texas tonight. Gary's up in Michigan. Um, I don't know who Ed Watts is, but Ruth is saying there's somebody named Ed Watts on Facebook that had some good stuff. I haven't seen. I don't know who he is. Um, I do have a PowerPoint, Brother Steve. I just talked to Brother Steve today for over probably an hour and a half, and it was a pocket call that he made. He wasn't trying to call me. We wound up laughing and talking, and I have a PowerPoint, Brother Steve, on the signs of the times. Yes, I do. And all right, let's see. This could have been God simply sending an RSVP to the church to be ready for the rapture. Brother Scott Forrester, amen. Ramona, I think this is a harbinger from God that time is running out. And okay, well, it's been good being with y'all tonight. And I know it's late. I better get off here. It's 10:30 on the East Coast, 9:30 here. God bless y'all. Remember, keep your eyes on them skies.